Hello and welcome, I'm Mr. Chef Jay, and today we're going to talk about the importance of entertaining. As the holidays approach us, one of the easiest things to do is a charcuterie board, which is a meat, cheese, and cracker tray. And I'm going to show you a really easy way to put this together and also add a couple classy items to it as well. Let's go. First, let's start with a few things that we're going to add to our cheese board. So we're going to make a fruit relish, an olive caper tapenade, and some candied walnuts. And to make life easy, we're going to buy a pre-made, already done up cheese and cracker tray. So this will make it nice and easy for you and stress-free. Alright, so let's start with our fruit relish. The first thing we're going to do is, whenever I purchase these items, I like to purchase them in bulk. And so we have a grocery store that has a bulk area. So I got some dried mango, some dried cherries, and some dried apricots. These cost under $3. Now what this is, it's a vinegary, sugary type jam. It's also called a gastrique, but I'm gonna call it a relish. And this is just an addition to add to a palate cleanser for your meat and cheese tray. So I'm gonna go ahead and start dicing this up. We're gonna put it into a saucepan and we're gonna cook it down until it's really thick, and I'll show that consistency here shortly. Alright, I have all of the dried fruit chopped up. I have about 3/4 of a cup of dried mango. I have about 1/3 of a cup of dried apricot. And about 1/4 cup of dried cherries. We're going to add that all to our little sauce pot. I have some dual pineapple orange juice. We're going to add just a fill, so it looks like a whole can. Then I have some rice wine vinegar. This is going to add a little acid to the relish. And then, even though all three of these fruits are very sweet, we're going to still need a little bit of sugar. This is going to act as a binding agent, and it's also going to help thicken things as well. So we're going to have our heat on medium-high, and we're going to simmer this until we get to a nice reduction, which is nice and thick, which I'll show you here once we get there. So as our relish is simmering, let's start working on the second item that we're going to add to our meat cheese cracker tray. Is some candied walnuts. So I have about a cup of whole walnuts. I have the oven preheated to 375 degrees. I'm going to add about 1/2 cup of honey. Some salt and pepper. And this is just a taste. So I like mine a little bit more peppier than normal. That's just me. So like I said, our oven has been preheated to 365 degrees. We're going to make sure that the honey is coating each of all our walnuts really well. And then we're going to put it on a sheet pan with parchment, or if you don't have parchment, aluminum foil will work as well. Alright, so let's get our walnuts to the sheet pan. And these are sticky, guys. That's okay. We're going to kind of press them out. This will help out with even baking. And we're going to put them in, and we're going to check them about every 3 minutes. Otherwise, these have a tendency to burn really quickly. They're going to go from a honey consistency to candy consistency pretty quickly. So I'll go ahead and slide them in. So you can see our relish is reduced by half. All the fruit is really soft. It has a really nice flavor of fruit, then just a little finish of vinegar, and you kind of want that, so it's a good palate cleanser. I've also had my walnuts in for almost 3 minutes. I'm gonna take them out and take a look at them. So they don't look like they've done anything, which is fine, but like I said, these are gonna go from honey consistency to candy consistency really quick on you, so you want to be able to watch them. So I'm going to go ahead and put them back in for another 3 minutes. Alright, so the timer's going off for the walnuts. Our gas streak has been cooking for about 14 minutes. You can see the honey is getting nice and loose, so we want to make sure that we're constantly getting these coated again by stirring them around, getting them on a flat layer. Put those back in for another 3 minutes. So our gas streak is about ready. This little fruit relish. The entire time I was cooking this and simmering it down, I was pressing it down and pushing on each of the fruit so we can kind of release some of those fruit flavors, especially from the cherries. Now this is the consistency that you want, so that there's some liquid in here. Now as this cools down, this is like a candy. It's going to thicken up and it's going to be absolutely amazing. So I'm going to place it on this plate, and I'm going to spread it out in a thin layer, like this. And then I'm going to place it in the refrigerator and let it cool down. Alright, timer's going off. It's been about 9 minutes. Wow, I almost grabbed that with my hand. You can see here how everything is getting a little bit darker. Turn this guy off. How everything is getting a little bit darker. So we're just going to continue doing what we've been doing and set it in there for another 3 minutes. Alright, timer's going off again. This is 12 minutes. And see how it's starting to get frothy on the inside of these almonds? Walnuts. I keep calling them almonds. Tell you what. These are getting to be a nice dark color, a lot darker than when we first started. So I'm going to go another 3 minutes. So it looks like these will take about 15 minutes at 365 degrees. Let's get them back in. Alright, let's check these walnuts again. It's been 15 minutes. And you can see they are very dark in color. Oops. We're going to stir them up. So about 15 minutes works on these. You're going to put them off to the side on your counter and let them cool down for about 15 to 20 minutes. Alright, now that we've made the relish and the candied walnuts, let's make the olive caper tapenade. This is super easy. You can either do this by chopping these ingredients together or using a food processor if you have one. So before I chopped any of this, I made some caramelized onion. This is just slivered red onions that I sauteed with a little bit of peanut oil and deglazed with a little bit of sherry. And I caramelized them to about this color here. This is going to add some nice texture and some nice sweetness to our relish. So that's going to go into the food processor. I have some Kalamata olives. These are great, or Niçoise olives are great as well. Just make sure whenever you're purchasing these olives that you buy the pitted and sliced, because there is a very good chance that almost every single bottle contains at least one olive with a pit. So just make sure that you're making sure that they're sliced. And probably open them before you do this. Alright, so we're going to add some Kalamatas, let's say about half a cup. And we're making a little bit of extra of everything because whenever we're entertaining, we want to be able to refill as the night goes on. So we have a little bit of extra to make sure that we can take care of all of our guests. Here's some Manzanilla Olives with some pimentos. I'm going to do about the same amount of green olives to Kalamatas. Then this is a balsamic reduction. This is a glaze. Let's see if we can get it here. This is a glaze. You can find this with all the rest of the olives. You can also reduce your own balsamic, but an easy way to do this is just using a balsamic glaze. This is really good. It's got a great balsamic flavor to it, and it's all ready to go. So I'm going to add a couple tablespoons of that to that. And then what makes this tapenade a tapenade is the capers. Now the capers are a bud of a flower of the caper plant. They're super acidic, They're great with fish, and they're absolutely fantastic with this relish. So we're going to do about 2 teaspoons of capers and some liquid from the capers themselves. We'll put it all together. We'll give it 3 pulses. And that's it. See, nice and chunky and rustic. This would be perfect for putting on crackers. Okay, so all of the preparation is done. We finished up with the tapenade, and we put it in this little ramekin for presentation purposes, as well as our relish. Do you see how nice and thick this is? This will spread very nicely on crackers. And then we finish it up with our candied walnuts. Now I do want to make sure that whenever you're handling these candied walnuts after they're done baking and cooling, the honey is so sharp that it will actually pierce your fingers. So be careful whenever you're breaking these pieces up. Alright, so we're ready to assemble. So the first thing is that whenever we had first discussed this video, we were going to do this simply. And this is a great way to do that. So you can take this package from multiple stores and cut it open and display it right in the plastic package as is, or if you want to spruce things up and make things look professional, take everything out and put them on a cheese board or a platter or anything that looks better than the plastic container itself. And now I'm going to show you how to present it so it looks professional, like a professional chef had put it together using these simple ingredients. Okay, so let's talk about the extra cheeses that we're going to add to this pre-made cheese and cracker tray. So I always pick 3, a goat cheese, a blue cheese, a hickory smoked cheese. Those are my preferences, but you pick what you want. If you want Camembert, or if you want Brie, or if you want Parmesan, Asiago, whatever cheeses you feel like you want to have, you go ahead and you pick what you want. So I'm going to start with this blueberry goat cheese. This is absolutely fantastic. They have a cranberry goat cheese as well, and they have different types of savory goat cheeses. I like things more on the sweet side. And then I have some aged blue cheese, which I'm just going to slice, and so it kind of crumbles on its own. And we're going to kind of just put these in their own little respective piles because we're going to present them on the plate here shortly. And it doesn't matter if cheeses collect, it's fine. I'll wash my hands real quick. Now, I always like doing a hard cheese or semi-hard cheese because of a couple of different reasons. I'm going to cut it into thin slices like this. Making sure that we have a soft grip on the knife, that we're pinch gripping the bolster and keeping our hands cut back so we don't cut our fingers off. And the reason why I'm cutting this is because we want to add some height and some dimension to our plate. And the way that we're going to do that is I'll take these and cut them all now in half into matchsticks. Well, they're a little bit larger than matchsticks, but you get the point. And then I break them apart, just like this. So, one of the things that we need to make sure that we have with our meat and cheese and cracker tray is fruits. These are very important, as well as the tapenades and the relishes. These are all palate cleansers, but what really cleanses the palate are grapes, strawberries, and other types of fruits. So, which I have here. So I quartered out some strawberries, I washed the blackberries, the raspberries, and the grapes. A couple of things to take into consideration. When you have guests over, you always want to cut grapes into little chunks so they don't have to sit there and pick off grapes as they are walking by. So break off and cut off pieces of them so they're easy for your guests just to grab. And then after we're done doing that, that's probably enough, we're gonna set them up nice and high as we can get them. And this is gonna be the backboard of our meat and cheese platter. We'll put in our candied walnuts next to that, our strawberries next to the grapes. Here, let's get this where you can see it. There we go. Okay, sorry about that. Our blackberries. And we're trying to get everything nice and tight in here because we want this to look nice and full and to add lots of dimension. So this is a good start to the backboard of the meat and cheese platter. We'll put our relish inside here and our tapenade in here. So one of the things with this relish is that it was made with mangoes, apricots, and dried cherries, and because we had more of the mangoes, that's the first note that you taste. Then comes the apricots, and then the very end is the cherry, plus a little bit of that vinegar, which is going to help cleanse the palate. Now let's go ahead and let's place down our cheeses. So we don't need a whole lot of space for our cheeses, but we do want to kind of have our cheeses all in a bundle as well, because we have crackers that we have to put down, and we also want to make sure that we're getting them as high as possible, and that will help create some dimension and some excitement with your meat and cheese. Then we'll finish it up with this, and these are my favorite, and any of these semi-hard cheeses or hard cheeses do this very well. You can haystack them, you can do whatever you want. I like just placing them up nice and high because it adds another element to your cheese and cracker tray. And then this last empty void right here is for all of the rest of our cheeses and crackers and meats. So we're gonna put down some of these pre-packaged cheeses. Okay, so let's finish this with some crackers. So this particular tray comes with some salty, buttery crackers, which I really like. Actually, I also like Ritz crackers. They're nice and flaky. And I also have some toasted sesame seed crackers as well. And there it is, your meat and cheese and cracker tray. I want you to understand a few things. When it comes down to this, we don't have to do all these extra things. We can just take fruit, the meat, cheese, and cracker display that's already prepared, and just put that on a platter itself, or put it on a cheese board, or whatever you like, making it nice and easy. These extra accoutrements are really nice to really spruce up your meat, cheese, and cracker tray, so your display looks very professional and very inviting. And these three items are really relatively easy to make. Well, I want you to understand, I really enjoyed doing this video, and I really enjoy how this journey has taken me to this point to where I am today. I've really come to enjoy doing this, and I look forward to every week of putting up these videos. So if you liked it, why don't you subscribe and give me a thumbs up? And if you have any comments, leave one down there and I'll reply. You have yourself a great day. Thanks.